Preparing to live stream the meeting. All right. We are just about to go live. I'll turn down the volume as well. Oh, fantastic. So we started streaming a minute ago. Okay, 1 second. Just make sure we don't get all the backlog of, suddenly we get the time lag of the information coming. Preparing to live stream the meeting. Okay, and we've still got a minute to go anyway, so that's cool. Boom, and then I can reduce this, and then I can expand this, and I've got all my websites and everything ready to go. Ah, here she comes, Cheeky Wayne. Just in time. Oh, and now Emily's gone. Okay, it's a roller coaster day. Hey, welcome. This is Finn Wycherley of Supersize Media. I'm here with my gorgeous team of talent. We have Alberto Giordano, all the way from Edinburgh, of course, as you can tell with the name. Amy, all the way from Edinburgh. And Petra, all the way from Edinburgh too, and Emily, all the way from outer Edinburgh, who's just got knocked off. She'll be back in a second. There she is, ringing the doorbell. So welcome. Today we are doing our usual Friday afternoon weekly marketing clinic, where we take a large international or national brand, and we look at how they're doing on social media, or what's their branding like, and what are the things that they're doing brilliantly, what are the things that they could be doing better. And we also look at a local brand based maybe here in Edinburgh or Glasgow or somewhere like that. And then we can compare and contrast between how sometimes a small brand can be outperforming even the large multinational brands because of their ability to move quickly and be much closer to the audience. But it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes they don't have a big marketing team. In fact, sometimes they've hardly got any marketing team at all, and they're just doing it on a wing and a prayer. But sometimes they just have that magic touch that you need to get that connection going with your target audience. So today, for your delectation, we are going to be looking in depth at the wonderful Oxfam. Oxfam is a world-renowned charity, and they have outlets all over the place, all over the world as well, but we're going to be focusing on Oxfam UK. And then for our local charity, we're going to be looking at SAMH, Mental Health, which is a Scottish mental health charity here in Scotland. All right, so let's get started, and feel free to join in the conversation. I will be checking out for any kind of chats, comments that are coming through on the YouTube live. So always happy to listen to any of your observations, or even if you disagree with us, and even if you're not watching us live, then feel free to put down any of the information into the comments below the video. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe what we do, and ring the bell to make sure that you don't miss any of our future broadcasts as well. All right, so I'm just going to share my screen so we can go and have a quick look at Oxfam. And let's take it away, Alberto. Alberto is our resident branding and website guru. So Alberto, what's your thoughts on the Oxfam website and branding experience?
Hello, everyone. So I think Oxfam is a great website, to be honest. It's very easy to navigate, and what they want and need from people is clearly highlighted. So I'm talking about, for example, about the header, where the donate section is highlighted with the branded green, which is easy to recognize. It's the green they use throughout all their shops and online activities. And also at the moment, we will also see that on their social media, they're focusing quite a lot into helping out India with their COVID situation. And they've highlighted that in red, because red, of course, is a color that prompts people to look at it, and that triggers action. And so people will be most likely going for that when they see it. And at the same time, they got a website which is really, really visual. They make use of a lot of pictures, and the pictures are pretty much portraits of the people involved, either in the organization or the people that they help throughout their programs. And you can read their stories, and that, of course, has a very, very powerful impact on the users. As you scroll down on the website, you can also access all the things that Oxfam is involved on. So beating hunger, for example, or what they do about climate change and gender issues as well. What I've noticed is with this list that you can see on the screen is that when you hover on the arrow, there's something like a glitch happening. At least that's for me on Safari. I'm using Safari, so I noticed that, but maybe with Chrome is different. So that is another heads up for when you build a website, you have to make sure that it works on all the different browsers, whether that is again Safari, or that is Google Chrome, or people using Mozilla, or the few people in the world using Internet Explorer. So you just have to make sure that it works for everybody. And then what I particularly liked about the website is how they explain how every pound is spent. So they have a section saying that 84% or of a pound goes directly to the projects, and then the rest is used to support costs and fundraising. So I think that is for a charity, is very important to tell people how the money is spent. And then, as usual, we can see that the social media links are at the bottom, which again is quite common to find, but it's you normally advise people to have the social media links at the top, accessible when people log in. And another thing is about their email updates, which is you can only see it if you scroll down to the footer, and then once you click on it, you can register your name and your email to sign up for the newsletter. So maybe an advice would be to have that somewhere where people can see it, rather than having them scroll down up to the bottom of the page. But other than that, it's a great website and everything works. They even have the online shop and the shop finder right at the top, which is very important.
Amazing. And then did you find out how much traffic they're getting?
Yes, I did. I can just give you a few numbers. So they have their traffic went down a little bit in the past few months. It was up in December and the months before. So right now they have about 900,000 visits, and the average visit is 3 minutes and 45 seconds. And what surprised me is that people look at 6 pages per visit, which is a great result, I would say. And also the bounce rate is quite good because it's 48%. And most of the traffic is from the United Kingdom. I've looked at the UK website, and then the rest is split between Pakistan, Philippines, United States, and some other countries. And the traffic mainly comes from other Oxfam websites, or a website called ID Talent. And in terms of destination sites, Some of them are redirected to their Google account. So I guess that's for the email sign up. And other destination sites are, again, other Oxfam websites that they have. And they also make use of paid keywords. The ratio is 70% organic and then 30% paid, with words such as Oxfam Shop, Oxfam Books, and Oxfam, of course. And I would say that the traffic generated from social media is not that high. It's about 2.4%, and it mainly comes from Facebook. Although I thought that it would come from Twitter, because I think they do a great use of Twitter, but we can look at that later. And they display ads on websites such as eBay, Facebook, Human Rights Careers, which makes sense, and Global Peace Careers. So for people who actually want to start a career as a volunteer in a charity.
Amazing. Fantastic. Thanks for that, Alberto. Okay, over to Amy. Let's have a look at how they're doing on Facebook, because obviously we are social media experts, and we're looking at giving you lots of tips and tricks on what large organizations and what smaller organizations should be thinking about when it comes to using social media in order to increase their visibility, increase their donations, and generally increase goodwill around the brand and the community. All right, Amy, over to you. What's the news on Facebook? How is Oxfam UK handling Facebook?
Okay, so first up, we notice that the call to action on the Oxfam page is learn more, and usually with a charity organisation, I would expect the first call to action to be donate, and that's the case with our other charity that we're going to be analysing today, SMAH. There we have donate there, but perhaps that should have been the first call to action. So going back to the main Oxfam page, they don't actually have a Facebook shop, although they do sell products sourced by Oxfam themselves. It's not just charity donations that they get in from the public. They also have products that are sourced by Oxfam by themselves. So I think that's quite a downfall for Oxfam.
Yeah, it's quite shocking.
Mm-hmm. And Oxfam, I looked on their main page, the non-regional page, and they're not running worldwide ads, but regional ads are run. So for example, Oxfam Great Britain or Oxfam Canada, etc. So Oxfam Great Britain's current ads are currently a mix between India's COVID-19 appeal, as Alberto said, that's a big focus of theirs just now, and it's also about notifications about sales on Oxfam's online shop. So I just feel like it would have, the ads about Oxfam's online shop would have just tied in quite nicely if they were to be on Facebook shops.
Yeah, that would have made a big difference. Oh wow, so that's fantastic. I mean, they've got a big marketing team, but as you can see, small businesses, small charities can actually outperform the large companies just because they're much nimbler to take action on the new products and services offered within the social media platforms, like the game-changing Facebook shops and Instagram shops as well. Brilliant, Amy, thank you. And then they've got the 3 fundraisers operating at the moment. So when we were looking at charities recently, we can see with Facebook, it always seems to be a good policy to be having a couple of fundraisers related to the different campaigns that you're involved in. So here you can see they've got one to do with Poppy's birthday fundraiser for Oxfam UK, Irki's birthday fundraiser for Oxfam India, and Nikki's fundraiser for Oxfam GB. And so they always set up some kind of goal as well, and which seems to be related to making sure that they achieve those objectives, which also includes the main one, which they have up at the top of the page, which is to do with their 10,000 pound objective. So when it comes to setting up any kind of fundraising or crowdfunding online, it's always good to set yourself a target which you know you're going to be able to reach. So if you've never done it before, always think about going for maybe a 2,000 or a 5,000 pound target, and then the next time you launch, go for a 10,000 pound target, to make sure that you're galvanizing people, mobilizing people throughout the duration of the campaign. And then you're telling people we've only got 2 days to go. We're with 200 pounds or 2,000 pounds short of our target, you know, so you really get to mobilize people throughout the whole duration of that fundraising experience. And then within that, these fundraising opportunities that you can get on Facebook, you can see all the different details and all the frequently asked questions. So if you're a charity, small charity, and you haven't got yourself set up properly with all the tools that Facebook can offer to charities, then now's the time to actually get it going, because it's a great way of raising some easy donations right now.
Just
okay.
On to the discussion about Facebook ads. Oxfam Great Britain have spent £200 over ads on the last 7 days. But what I did notice is that where I can see how much they have spent per ad, it tends to be quite a low figure. Some ads were less than £100 per ad, which is a very low expenditure, I would say.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And so they're giving you the Facebook ad information for each ad as well, because normally you only get to see the actual spend when it comes to, I guess, political ads. So I guess these are political and social ads, so therefore you can see the kind of amounts being spent. Fantastic. Whereas with normal business ads, say for example Nike ads, you would see how many ads they were using, but you wouldn't necessarily see what the budgets were involved in each ad or overall. Brilliant. Fantastic analysis. Anything else there on Amy from Facebook in terms of how often they're posting or engagement rates, the kind of posts that they're doing?
Their posts are quite similar to what they are posting on Instagram, and I would say that the nature of the post is that there tends to be more engagement with on Instagram opposed to Facebook.
Interesting. And they seem to have got quite a cute little font action going on within Facebook there. I haven't seen that font being used within Facebook before. So that'd be interesting to see what that's about. Brilliant. Awesome. All right, moving swiftly on, because obviously it's already nearly 10:02, and we've got to do Instagram plus all the other social medias, and then move on to SMAH. All right, so Instagram, Petra, what have we got to say about how Oxfam is handling Instagram?
So they have just over 75,000 followers. The engagement rate was only 0.27%, which is quite low. They usually have around 200 likes on a post, and they post 4 times a week, which is 3 times less than SMAH. So it seems they are like trying to post more quality pictures less often.
Interesting. So what we mean by engagement rate for the uninitiated is basically that a lot of business owners and charity owners make the mistake of thinking it's really important to gain as many numbers as we can, and that's going to make us look very powerful and impressive. But actually, the real game of social media is to get the engagement rate, which means people liking, commenting, sharing, clicking through, stopping in the scroll, and all that type of thing. So when you have a very high engagement rate, that's normally anything over 3%, or it could be 10% if you're doing particularly well. So normally when we're working with companies, we always recommend, we always proceed on the basis of getting good engagement rates. So therefore it's much better to get lower numbers My God, classic. I've got teenagers over there cooking lunch, and then I've got the bagpipes over on this side. It's all going on, I tell you. Yeah, carry on, Petra.
Uh, yes. So I think good thing what they are doing is that they are doing Instagram stories and they are saving them into highlights. They have a lot of highlights. But maybe one thing that I would recommend again to try to create like a template or like a one picture that they could use for all the highlights. I think it could look nicer than just like having different pictures on each highlight.
Yeah,
And
a nice branded highlight. Maybe that kind of green plus a kind of white picture of India, for example, and that kind of representation using their branded colors. Yeah, good point, Petra.
Yeah, I think it could look nicer. Another thing that they are doing quite well is that they are using carousel posts, which some ages they are just posting normal pictures. They are not posting any carousel at all. And carousel posts are good because usually people spend more time on like going through them and checking the pictures. So then your engagement rate is higher if you post more carousel posts or even reels. They have only one reel, but they are doing quite a lot IGTVs. And yeah, my last thing, they don't have an Instagram shop, but I cannot see it now on the computer. But only when you check their Instagram on mobile phone, you can see that there's a way how you can donate money straight away from Instagram, and then it takes you to donate money. So that's the thing that they have instead of Instagram shop.
So the reason why people want to be using IGTV, which is basically any video over 1 minute, or Reels, which is basically Instagram's answer to TikTok, and it's a 15 or 30-second video, that is because these perform a lot better than normal posts. And even if you're going to do a normal post, as Petra says, having a carousel post is going to be a lot more powerful than a single image type of post, just because of the fact that people spend more time there, and therefore your engagement rate is going to be a lot higher. Fantastic. Anything else, Petra?
I think that's everything from me.
Brilliant. Oh, we've got Oxfam FB. And what about the hashtags? They only seem to be using a few hashtags I've noticed on each of the posts. 1, 2, 3, basically, which is a bit of a wank oops as well, because you have the opportunity to use as much as 30 hashtags for every single post. It doesn't necessarily have to be within the body of the caption. It could be a couple in the body of the caption and then the rest in the comments section, so it doesn't look too kind of graspy and needy. You can see here that they're putting the caption together. They're tagging a particular Brighton Oxfam shop. They're putting the hashtags in there, and then they could easily just stick the rest of the hashtags in there at the bottom if they wanted to. And this is a fantastic way of building your business, because if your Instagram is not directing 20% of people who have never seen your content before, who are already not subscribers or fans of your content, then you have to make sure at least 20% of them are coming in through your hashtags. So if you're not getting that number, then your hashtag game needs some revision. Okay, fantastic. Thanks very much for that, Petra. Emily, so what are you thinking overall about Oxfam? Let's wrap up quickly before we move on to SMAH.
Yeah, well, I think overall Oxfam has a really good strategy, and I was looking into what they were doing on social media and online to make up for their sort of physical fundraising, because same for SMAH, the big events for these companies, which is quite surprising, is like fun runs are really big. So a really good form of non-social media promotion for these companies is that people run for them in marathons, and they'll wear their t-shirts, and you'll see them in the gym, and you'll wear them out and about and stuff. And but to make up for that, they've been running a lot of virtual campaigns and a lot of like virtual walks, and I think you could walk to Tokyo with one of them, and they're still, I've seen there was a few stuff like they were putting up a lot of posts about how the London Marathon's still going on and stuff, because it is difficult for a charity like Oxfam, who a lot of their sponsors and coverage comes in from Glastonbury and the London Olympics. No, not Olympics, the marathon. So with the marathon postponed and Glastonbury cancelled, they've had to think of new ways to get people fundraising online. And so far, I think they've done a really good job, and they've created a bunch of like new fundraising schemes. So yeah, it's good.
Amazing. Thanks for that. And then Alberto, you were going to say something about their Twitter account as well. What I'm loving just by looking at it is that they're using animation all the time. You know, they've got either a video or some kind of animated image going on there. So which is always a lot more powerful than just straight image.
Yes, their content is adapted for Twitter, and they make a good use of hashtags and also call to action to donate now and visit a website. And what I've noticed is also that they keep a conversation with people tagging Oxfam in pictures or saying something about them. And I think that it's really powerful. It's one of the good ways of using Twitter. And they're covering, of course, the situation in India. So they're trying to push people to donate, make them aware of what is actually going on over there. And I've also seen that they use Twitter lists. So people they have a bunch of them, and that allows people to group different accounts into one list that talks about a specific topic or different organizations from a similar industry. So again, that is another powerful tool that is available on Twitter.
And of course, not just using the list. When you're on Twitter, using the list is a sign that you've moved from amateur to professional. But also you can use the list to send ads to everybody on that list as well. So then you're going through proper advanced Twitter at that point. Brilliant. Thanks for that, guys. All right, let's move swiftly on to SMAH. All right, back to you, Alberto. What are we thinking on SMAH?
It looks like a very professional website, quite similar to the Oxfam one, to be honest, especially if you look at the call to action at the top on the right, the donate one. And they make a great use of this purple throughout the branding, and also the font of SMAH logo is pretty much everywhere on the website, on text and headings. And it's again, it's a beautiful website. The use of pictures that they do is fantastic, and they also have some videos on the website, which is again a useful tool to have. And I think they also have I don't know if it's on the homepage, on another page, the ambassador, Sir Chris Hoy, who used to be Olympic athlete for Great Britain, and also a racing driver, and he's been with them for 10 years. So again, it's a powerful tool to have an important person as an ambassador that can be used with branding, and to, of course, raise awareness for mental health issues. And yeah, I think it's a very pleasant website to look at. I like this boxes that have this sort of paper feeling to them, and it's great. It's great to look at it. And again, the social media links are at the bottom, so maybe they could be put at the top, but that's a personal choice. And what I couldn't see is a call to action to subscribe to an email account. So maybe that is something that they should think about, to have an email strategy to send out the latest news about the charity and what they've been involved recently. But other than that, again, it's a good website, really.
Brilliant, fantastic. And what about the numbers? Do we have many visitors here?
I couldn't find any numbers. The website does not reach an amount of traffic high enough to see numbers displayed on similar webs.
Fair enough. And Emily's just gone again. Emily's having all kinds of internet connection problems as well. All right, fantastic, Alberto. Thanks for that. What are we thinking, Amy, in terms of their Facebook then for SAMH?
Yeah, so SAMH are currently running Facebook ads. Also, a point to note, they've got a donate call to action at the top, which is brilliant. So Facebook ads on SAMH are almost all video based, and the one thing that stood out to me on Facebook is that SAMH has nearly 28,000 people liking the page compared to 8,700 followers odd on Instagram. And although they're posting very much the same content, there's a lot more engagement and likes on Instagram, and that's without even using hashtags on Instagram too. For example, on Facebook, a post got 51 likes, and that same post on Instagram got 336 likes. So yeah, huge disparity between the engagement on Facebook versus the Instagram.
Which is an indication of why Instagram is so popular and why all charities need to be on Instagram, because of the fact not just that it's another platform where people might want to hang out, but it's also got a much higher engagement rate. Normally when we manage to persuade people and businesses and charities to move over to Instagram, they appreciate it much more because of the fact that it's a lot more lively and it doesn't feel like you're putting up content and listening to the crickets. Brilliant. Anything else, Miss Amy? So they've got good engagement rate, but it's even better on Instagram as well. So I'm having Wi-Fi problems today as well. Hey. Must be because of the election and the counting that's going on. What about the fundraisers? Do they have a lot of fundraisers on at the moment?
So some of their ads are all about fundraisers just now, and what they're saying is you can celebrate your birthday a little differently, and you can donate to them. So that's part of their ad strategy just now, as well as they were also doing what they called a virtual stomp, which kind of goes along with what Emily was saying earlier, that there's a lot of these virtual events to raise money.
Brilliant, yeah. And so one of the super amazing things about Facebook is that when people are having their birthdays, like say for example Tegan's having her birthday, and let's say Tegan Kavanagh is out in Linlithgow or something like that, she might say to her friends and family, rather than sending me money or presents, I would rather raise some money for SAMH. So she'll set up a fundraising page on Facebook and make sure that anybody who wants to donate for her birthday, all the money will be donated to SAMH. And therefore SAMH now features all of their people who are raising money for them on their page, and they can share them as well. So it's a really great way to showcase all of your fans who are doing amazing work in raising money for their favorite charity. But again, you won't be able to have these functionalities if you haven't registered with Facebook as a charity as well. So these are the kind of general donations, as well as their own campaigns that they've got going on within the donate button as well. But of course, because my Wi-Fi is playing up, then I'm not going to be able to get in there. Brilliant. All right, thanks for that, Amy. Moving swiftly on, Petra, to Instagram. What are they doing? What is SAMH doing on Instagram?
Yeah, so they have 8.7 thousand followers. the engagement rate was 0.41, which is double than Oxfam, but still not really good, or like the good is when it's over 3%. The first thing I noticed is that they could definitely do more highlights. Only two, it looks quite empty, and they are not doing any stories at all. They also have only few IGTV, and they don't do any reels. And for their content, a thing that I really liked was that they have the logo almost on all the posts in the top right corner, which I think it just makes the feed looks nice and just nice. And oh yeah, also another thing that we were also talking about last time, that for the videos they could just, well, they would have to post it from, you cannot do it from computer, they would have to post the picture from their phones, mobile phones, and just to choose a cover picture instead of, so then the video is not just black, like there is not like a black picture in the feed, but there is, you can choose a cover picture.
Yeah, so that's the problem that's happened
nicer
with this particular post. Yeah,
and then the black one as well.
Yeah.
And then yeah, they are not using almost any hashtags at all, just sometimes they use one or two, but like a lot of times not even one. So
Wow.
that's one thing that we could also recommend to focus more.
Wow, that's a bit shocking. Yeah. So, I mean, when you have the opportunity to increase your reach by a good 20% by having good hashtags, then you really want to be developing a good hashtag strategy. And then the trick with hashtags is you don't want to be using the bleeding obvious ones, you know, hashtag charity, hashtag fundraising, hashtag mental health, because those are giant hashtags and they're not going to serve you very well, especially if you're a smaller charity. You want to be looking at the more niche hashtags that are going to be more relevant to what your community might be looking for or searching for. So then using things like hashtag mental health Scotland, hashtag mental health charities, you know, they're going to be a lot smaller hashtags than the giant mental health ones. So in order to find out how many hashtags, how many people are using any particular hashtag, then all you have to do is put the hashtag into the search box on Instagram, and instantly you can see that hashtag mental health is used by just over 28 million people, whereas hashtag mental health awareness is 12.5 million, hashtag mental health matters, etc., etc. So you go down the list, and then if you put in things like hashtag mental health Scotland, you can see that it's going to be much easier to rank and be found through using those smaller hashtags and then trying to be found within the very, very giant hashtags. Brilliant. Awesome. I agree with that. We could definitely make much more of a use of the highlights, Instagram TV, Reels as well is going to be really important. But the real deal breaker for me is a bad hashtag game. It says to be, even though they've got a great engagement rate, well, it's not fantastic, actually. It could be a lot better, but at least it's better than Oxfam. But then Oxfam was set up a long time ago, which meant that in those days, it was really important to grow the numbers and get those kind of big followers numbers. Whereas nowadays, it's much, much more important to have a smaller following and then try and get that 3%, 10% engagement rate, because what that does is it says to the algorithms that this is quality content. Because if you're just putting up content as a charity or a business or a giant business even, and hardly anybody is engaging with it, it's literally telling the algorithms that this content is garbaggio. So do not even bother showing it to anybody else, because you're going to make people feel miserable when they go onto this platform. So therefore, they reduce the impact that you're going to have by having this garbage content. So that's the reality of social media in 2021. You have to have the engagement rate. All right. Any other insights into any of their other actions on their other social media platforms, like Twitter, for example? I see that they've got YouTube as well.
Yes, they have a YouTube channel. What I've noticed is that some of the videos, they're all like professionally done, but some of the titles are not very clear. So maybe they should have a better strategy of like telling people what's the video about. So sometimes they just have a name and a surname of the person speaking, but not everyone know who that person is. So just to be a bit more clear on that. And also
Sorry about that. We had the music playing away there. Yeah, carry on. So yeah, they need to make more of the names, because if people are searching, remember, YouTube, it belongs to Google, and Google is a search engine. So YouTube, you have to regard as a search and a visual video search engine. So if you're putting things up like Harry story, you know, that might work if you've got some kind of Vimeo type of activity going on. But for YouTube, you have to be a lot more smart about the titles that you're using and make sure that they're much more SEO friendly as well. Using the right keywords that people are going to be using when they're searching for this type of content. Unless, of course, they might be using YouTube not necessarily as a platform for growing their population, but basically storing or a library for all their video content. So if that's the case, then fair enough. It doesn't really matter about how they're, but about the fact that they're not optimizing the content on YouTube. And there you can see that because of the fact that they've just got a very, very basic description in there, means that they really haven't spent much time thinking about growing their platform on YouTube at all. Fantastic. And then they've got a solid following there.
They do, yes. And again, they do a good activity of engaging with followers with messages of appreciation, or even help sometimes. If they see someone struggling through Twitter, they provide instant help with their telephone line and all those on the website for people to get in touch if they're struggling with their mental health. So it's another great way of using the platform.
Brilliant. And of course, they're just like Oxfam as well. They've got a pinned tweet. So not only have they got all their kind of branding going on up here on the top, they've got their description bio here, but then they've got a pinned tweet, which means this is the most important thing that they want to see, what they want you to see, no matter what other content goes up. This one went up 3 hours ago. This one went up 5 hours ago. This one went up on May the 6th. Then still the pinned tweet is going to be the first thing that is actually seen. And this one was put up on 7th of April. So it's a really good way to make sure that people are focused on the main, most important feature of that particular campaign or month or season, that post that really you want everybody to engage with most. All right, fantastic. Any final thoughts before we wrap up for today then? We all good? Perfect. Okay, so on that note, I hope you've enjoyed the experience of being with the Supersize Media team and me, Finn Wycherley. So come back and join us next week, where we are talking about, do we remember what we're talking about?
Lunch, Glasgow, and Greg's. I think.
Got some Wi-Fi issues.
Have we frozen?
Yeah. Okay, so she left.
Okay.
It's still
live.
recording as well.
Can we switch it off? I think only she can do it.
I just stopped recording. Stop recording. I hope I'm not cancelling everything.